All right, so in my opinion, one of the best features of Sandbox, and it might actually make this game incredibly popular for content creators, more so than like what Halo Infinite does with Forge or Fortnite does with their Unreal Engine for Fortnite, is the ability to easily create maps or third-party maps for game modes that somebody else created. And in a way that doesn't actually require you to know any programming or really how the actual game mode was created. All you need to know is like how to set up a map for that specific game mode. But just to show how easy this is, you load up the editor in content mode. You could make your own project, but they have a content mode button here specifically for people that are trying to like make maps or model or whatever. So you open it up in content mode. That button might change and might be moved in the future. Currently, in the current build, what you need to do is go to the Content Citizens map folder, right-click, and create a new map. And I'm just going to call this demo, let's call it demo. Double-click it, and it will open up Hammer. You could also do the same thing by going up here to the little hammer button, but this way opens it up in a pretty decent preset. In this example, I'm going to create a map for the Boomer, the Boomer shooter that Face Punch made is basically a Quake clone. So if we come over here to Entity Tool, you can see I already added Boomer. But to be able to add this, you just hit Add Game, and you can see every game on asset.party. Basically, every published Sandbox game is here. It might be more difficult to make maps for other games because there might be certain entities that are required, and we'll see that in a moment. But now that Boomer is added, you basically add Boomer from this list and hit, click OK or whatever. You can see all the entities that are relevant to the game mode. But there's armor. So we drag armor in, and you can see there's a little pickup. We can also add in like the Mega Health and Mega Armor. Some game modes are going to require certain entities. Through trial and error, I figured out that one that is required is the starting weapons. So the Boomer_starting weapons is required. And this is just an entity that has a drop-down here of which weapon do you want to start with. And I'm just going to choose the grenade launcher. Let's also add another weapon so we can actually show picking up working. Let's say we add in the lightning gun. We save the map with Control S or come up here to File Save, and then we also build the map. I'm going to just do Fast Compile because it's a simple map. We don't need lighting to work in this. Now, with the map actually built, that's an important part because it will yell at you if you don't. If you come back out into Sandbox after properly setting up the map, in the top left up here, if you edit your launch configurations, so it's just called Untitled Config for me. It might be called something else for you. Changing the game to the map that you're trying to make a map for. In this case, we've changed it to Boomer. And you can just go to choose from the same list that we've seen before. And then we choose the map from the local file, which we saved inside of the citizen/map folder. So the demo.vmap. And then save. Once you hit play up here, it will load in to the map that you just created or give you an error. Did I mess up something? There we go. Okay, I don't know why that happened. Sandbox is a little buggy, but you can see we can walk around. We can actually pick this up. You can see our armor went up, and we pick this up, and our health goes up. We can even pick up this and actually shoot. Incredibly simple. Incredibly easy to make maps for already existing game modes. Let's see if when the warm-up ends, if we spawn in with our... what do we spawn in? What do we tell it to spawn in with? Grenade launcher, I think? Oh, then see, we have a grenade launcher because we chose that from the settings. Apparently the other things didn't respawn. Oh, they're respawning now. But we can pick up this and we can swap to it with the 6 key and then actually make maps for game modes that you didn't make. Easily the best part about this game. Super simple, not too complicated. All you really have to do is know where the buttons are and where to save the map and how to like build and actually how to like navigate Hammer at least a little bit. Very simple, not too hard. Nothing stopping me from going out and actually using Hammer to build out a full complicated map and doing all the proper normal mapping stuff inside of Hammer, but then also supporting the Boomer shooter with these entities. Now, Hammer, on the other hand, isn't that simple. It's kind of a bitch, a little weird, a lot better than the Source 1 Hammer, but still very powerful. The block tool just to like do a simple block out, I mean, isn't that difficult to use, but a lot of things about Hammer that you have to like figure out and learn, and it's its own like 3D tool, and most 3D applications are normally a bitch to learn anyway. But the very core basics to get a very simple map working, even in just a blocked out state, isn't hard. Because using the block tool here with the geometry type of block, you can get a fully functional map with just what I'm showing right now. Like, once Sandbox comes out, anybody that can understand any of the words that I said in the past, however long it's been, I've been talking about this, should be able to make a map without too much difficulty. Because all I'm doing is just dragging cubes around and placing down these entities. And if I come over here to build map and do a quick build, let's do a fast compile, save it. All we have to do is come back over here and hit play. Actually, now because Sandbox is beautiful, it fucking hot-loaded the changes. You didn't even have to restart. Because you didn't see I didn't hit the restart button up here. It hot-loaded these changes. Now, the lighting is messed up because we did a fast build. That's why the lighting is ugly. But here's our map. Super simple. Not even like that crazy. And I mean, you can kind of see the lighting does work. There is like lighting, but the baked lighting isn't working right now. But to fix that, you would just go to Hammer and you go File, Build Map. I want to do like custom settings, like really low resolution if I can. Like 512. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. This process here can take a minute depending on your computer. But the actual creation of the map isn't that slow. And if you actually wanted to preview the lighting, this is one great thing about Source 2. Let's say you wanted to get an idea of what your map actually looks like here. Like, what is this going to visually look like? Well, there's a few options up here. By this entire time I've been in full bright, which is basically no lighting really. You can come over here to 3D direct only and get an idea of like, here's where like the shadows are going to be. But like, that's not really useful because the shadows aren't going to be that light. There's this real-time baked lighting setting that will use ray tracing in the editor to actually show, as you can hear, the hot load actually happen in the background, to show what it's going to look like in the actual world. So this is what Hammer thinks it's going to look like. So we go back to full bright. So we come back over here after building. Did we actually build? No, why'd the build not happen? Let's just do a full compile then. Did it hot load in Sandbox? Oh, it did. And then here we are. And as you can see, if I go back into a full screen mode, we can actually, or more full screen, you can actually see that the preview that we've seen in the ray trace preview, pretty similar to what we see here. Come over here and pick up the weapons. And if you had multiple spawn points around the map, you could actually fight in your map. Set the spawn points around. It would just work. One thing that I missed is to actually be able to publish your map. If you select on the map, the inspector is showing it. Is there a button on right click? If you don't have the inspector open, it's in Windows and make sure you have inspector. When you select the map here, you can actually see the publishes package button. And you go to the edit settings, test. I'm going to make it my own organization or whatever. Choose the supported game modes, which would be Boomer. So Boomer. Test. Game mode Boomer. We save it. And then now we can hit the upload button here now that we've had the settings or set up to be, you know, the organization tags and the name or whatever. We hit upload. It's going to take us to the packaging moving test. We hit next. And we hit upload files. And we hit publish new revision. And then with this now published, you can go to view and edit on web and actually see it. But if I actually come back here, you can do this in the editor. But it's probably better to do it not in the editor. You can do it in the actual game. But if we go here to games, we go to Boomer or whatever game you made a mode for and hit play. If we go to create game, we should be able to go to change this and we should be able to search up test. There's a lot of maps called test. If we go by, change this to test by newest. You can see here's the test that I made and we hit this. And now we've selected test, and we're going to go to one player and hit create. Now we can actually load up the game proper. Now we're still in the editor, but what I just did will work outside of the editor in the real actual game mode. Now anyone that goes to opens up Sandbox can play this map that I created.